Bethany Manctalo here. Welcome to our Millwall fan show with some new voices, but the same focus. Just everything Millwall. Enjoy!
Well, welcome back to the 23-24 series of Millwall No One Likes Us Talking's, our Millwall fan show. I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Jeff Burnige, Myles Thornton and Stan Godwin for the last show of 2023.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Yeah, but we do really. We do really. Well, welcome listeners and welcome Jeff, Stan and Myles. Great to have you on the show once again. That's okay. You can say hi and hi. But don't worry, I'll go straight on to Jeff. Jeff, I expect Hester was expecting 3 points on Saturday. How about you?
Well, I did go with Hester, my younger daughter, and we both expected it to be a win. And of course, with a minute to go, it was. So that was very, very disappointing. We haven't had the best of luck in the last few games. A couple of penalties have robbed us of 4 points, haven't they, from the last two home games? Yeah. I think I've got that right.
Yeah.
But there you are. We'll be there again on Boxing Day, the whole family. So let's hope we're going to get a good result.
Let's have the passionate Burniges with us against the Rangers. Stan, was the anger targeted at Billy Mitchell appropriate in any context last Saturday?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And what concerns me, I don't know whether it's a certain group or whatever, first they target Longy, then they all screaming they wanted to row it out, then they're gone. The next target becomes Billy Mitchell. No, you see, I just don't understand the mindset of these people, because how do they think? I mean, all right, players make mistakes. We've all played football and we all know what you do and what you don't do, and it happens. And it's actually standing there or sitting there, it's absolutely slaughtering somebody like that. That don't do any good for anyone, because one day they'll say it, right, and then it's going to be the old thing with like Tyler Bury. They're going to say it, right, and their justification for saying it is freedom of speech. That's what they say. I have a right of opinion and it's freedom of speech.
That's right.
If one day they say it and Billy Mitchell or whoever it happens to be they're getting targeted turns around and tells them in no uncertain terms where they can go, they cop the ump, yeah. Right? Somehow free speech don't apply when they're on the receiving end of it. We all go to football matches, we get carried away, we lose our rags and whatever. I'll get all that. You have to keep control of it, because at the end of the day, you're not doing. Whoever's on the receiving end of that, they think I need all this ag like I need an hole in the head.
That's right, and it don't just affect the individual; it affects the rest of the team and the management
absolutely.
too. Yeah, it's not right. Absolutely not right. Sad news, but let's hope people withdraw from that. Myles, on a most important but lighter matter, No One Likes Us Talking's dashing Santas were front of house ahead of Saturday's game. How was it for Stan Godwin and yourself? Were you more Santas or more Rudolph and Prancers? Millwall Romans Paul Loading, where was he?
Yeah, it was a great event. Eamonn. Lots of Millwall fans rallied together, took on the streets of Rotherhithe and South Bermondsey to raise money for such a great cause. Paul Loading, most of it was around me. Looked like he gave it a good go, and yeah, so it was a great event. And I'll tell you what, though, walking this week has been odd. Might have been a bit too early for my knee, but back to normal now.
Well, you kept the pace for Stan, I understand.
Yeah.
Would you like a comment on that? Yeah. Stan?
Meeting up with the group, and Myles in particular, was interesting to say the least. But nevertheless, to be honest, when I got there, I got there towards the tail end of it, to be fair, and that weren't their fault. It was a lot of it was to do with me. But anyway, it was quite good. I see old Paul; he was there in full flow, and and as it happens, when we eventually got there, when we were walking to the ground, groups only split up in different ways. I don't know why they done that, and we went one way, and then anyway, the net result of all that was is that when we got to the ground, me and Myles, we were the last two to go round the pitch, walk round the pitch. And anyway, we walked round, and Myles got his medallion thing or whatever it was, and it was fun. And although I must admit, when I walked into the Surrey Docks Tavern, and then there was people sort of looking out the window, thinking, "What's going on here?" Because they saw these people sitting out there in blue suits. But what they did, and the people that was in attendance, credit in the main to Sean Daly, because he organises it all for the crown jewels, as I call them. That all shines onto the football club in general anyway. So, no, it was good.
Excellent. Well done, lads. Better late than never, as they say. Perhaps we can convince a few others over the next 12 months to come along and join you for next 2024's Santa's Dash. Anyway, in the meantime, we'll take a break there and listen to a message from our sponsor, G&M Motors.
Hi, this is Jess Tuffield from G&M Motors. Operating from a modern and purpose-built facility in Milton Road, Gravesend, G&M Motors offers a complete range of new Honda cars and services. As well as new Hondas, we have an extensive range of used cars, including ex-Motability cars from a variety of manufacturers. Specialising in new Honda cars, G&M Motors has been retailing quality new and used vehicles to the people of Kent and South East London for over 4 decades. We have been a Honda dealership since 1972 and are the country's longest serving supplier of this renowned marque. Conveniently sited just 2 miles from the A2, 10 miles from the M25 and Dartford Crossing, visitors to our showroom are assured a warm welcome from our experienced and friendly staff. Our facilities include an on-site workshop capable of providing full vehicle servicing and repairs, as well as an extensive parts department offering genuine Honda parts and accessories. The expertise of our skilled mechanics is not limited to just Hondas, but extends to most makes and models of motor vehicles. Whatever your motoring needs, visit us at G&M Motors today. The newly extended hours of our G&M headquarters means that you can contact us from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. on Saturdays. To contact us, call us today on 01474 365 026.
Thank you, Jess. Debbie Julian's here. Don't forget to call Jess on 01474 365 026. G&M Motors have been dear friends of the Julians family for over 4 decades now, from my dad Lenny to me, Debbie. Lions together.
I'm Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnige, Myles Thornton and Stan Godwin. Check out G&M Motors Gravesend site. Not just new and quality used Hondas, but much, much more. Our first guest was a youth team player with, dare I say, West Ham United, before being released at the end of June 2013. He then joined Millwall, from where he went on a youth loan with Concord Rangers, making 7 league appearances for them and scoring a goal. He made his senior debut for Millwall on the 12th of August 2014 in the League Cup against Wycombe Wanderers. He made his first start against Southampton, again in the League Cup, on the 26th of August 2014. On the 30th of August 2014, he made his league debut against Blackpool. God, August was a sunny period for Jack in a 2-1 victory. Further loans with Braintree followed twice over, and he was released by the Lions, sadly at the end of 2015-16 season. He then moved into non-league with Ebbsfleet and then Maidstone before joining League Two Crawley Town in July 2019, where he plied his trade alongside former Lions Harry Ransom, Josh Wright, the evergreen Millwall legend that is Tony Craig, and former Millwall youth player and Jeff Burnige's favourite man, the man from Crawley who was the manager, John Yems. In June 2023, he headed north to Crewe Alexandra, but since has incurred an ACL injury, which is likely to rule him out for the rest of the season. Let's welcome to the studio that man they called the Peckham Perlo, Jack Powell. Welcome back, Jack.
Thanks very much. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Jack.
All right, Jack.
Hello, Jack.
You all right,
Hello,
guys? You all right?
Hey, Jack, before I let you off to the panel, Crewe, what persuaded you to go there?
To be honest with you, it's something that I've always kind of wanted to do, just see a different part of the country whilst obviously playing football. So it was just the right time for me, really, with obviously my family dynamic and things like that. It's just timing and an opportunity coming at the same time and crossing at the right time. So something I've always wanted.
Well, that's good that you always wanted to do that, and you're up there now, and you've taken the family with you. So all the best, and get back and playing soon. I'll hand you over to Jeff.
Good evening, Jack. Jeff Burnige here. Firstly, congratulations on spending 3 years in non-league football while determined to get back to Football League. That's quite an achievement, so well done on that. You arrived at the Den during the short managerial career of another former West Ham player, Steve Lomas. What do you remember about the team, about Steve, and the interim appointments of first Neil Harris and Scott Fitzgerald, and then ultimately the arrival of Ian Holloway? What was your impressions of all of them as managers?
It was interesting, really. When I first signed for the club, I had obviously left West Ham, as everyone knows. But yeah, I'd kind of gone up and down the country trialling at various different clubs, and Millwall always showed an interest in kind of taking a look at me, really. And it was something that I wanted to do when the time kind of arose. But it's a strange one, like you're brought up playing for West Ham and whatever else, and you hear all sorts of stories, Millwall, West Ham. And then it was really refreshing, to be honest with you, because I went to Millwall and it was all the stories you get told. It's just people, just good people. Do you know what I mean, at the club? And obviously Lomas was the manager, like you mentioned. Obviously I knew him from his West Ham days, and unfortunately was kind of proved right in probably thinking that it was never really going to turn out well. But I didn't really have much interaction with Steve Lomas, to be honest, and I don't think that really played much of a part in me joining the club at all. Neil Harris was obviously the under-21s manager at the time, and he was just really keen on getting me in. And I signed till the end of the season. I think that was around like September time. I signed till the end of the season. And yeah, he didn't last very long, to be honest. So I used to train with the first team quite a fair bit with Steve Lomas. Very intense character. Wanted people to train really hard and train well. And at the time, I thought we had a decent squad at the time, to be fair. And something wasn't really clicking. So yeah, it was interesting for me to join at that time. I felt really comfortable in the first team environment straight away, but obviously was playing my trade with the under-21s mostly. And then obviously things improved for me under the next manager, which was Ian Holloway, and that's where it all started, really.
Interesting times.
Jack,
that's all right.
Stan here. Joining us put you amongst some interesting young players such as Denzel Gerrard, Tom Bender, Jake Goodman, Josh Siafa, William de Havilland, Fred Onidimia, Charlie Penny, Aidan O'Brien and Alfie Pavey. Must have been fun as a young bunch in a championship side. Are they still prominent in your memories, and any funny stories? Are you still in touch with them?
Yeah, I remember all the names. I remember all the names you mentioned. Josh Siafa had a little spell with West Ham as well, so I knew him already. But yeah, some great lads. It was a great change room. It was kind of good to get to know some people on the south of the river, and just realise that, if you're a good person, it don't matter where you're from. And I got on really well with them boys. We had some great times, to be fair. And we was a very good under-21s team. Especially complemented with the likes of Aidan O'Brien, who started to break into the first team at the time. Obviously had Sid Nelson, Ben Thompson, who I played alongside, who went on to do really well for Millwall for a period. We had a really strong side, and to be honest, we used to beat most of the sides we used to play in a 21 setup anyway. So yeah, some funny characters, some lads who I got on really well with.
Who was that you got on very well with, Jack?
Alfie Pavey, Sid Nelson, them lads who they were a year younger than me. But yeah, obviously you had Charlie Penny, who was a good good striker for us,
Yeah.
like real nippy striker, scored some good goals. Obviously, Ben Thompson was part of Alfie Pavey and Sid Sage group. And then obviously the likes of Fred. Even I got on really well with the lad who's at Palace now, who unfortunately the club let go, which is Abir Eze.
Dan will have a question about him for you.
Yeah, I took him under my wing a little bit. I got on really well.
Well, I'll tell you this in relationship to him. I mean, I didn't know a lot about him. I remember I'd heard he'd left Millwall, and then I read this strange story about him that he used to play a lot of. They used to play him a lot of right back for some strange reason. An ex-coach said this. He wrote in the Football League paper. This bloke will end up playing for England. He's that good, you know. I mean, everything about him. And I remember what Paul Merson said. He was playing in the Palace first team. I forget who the opposition was now, but he runs from one end of the pitch to the other and scores a goal. He slots it in, right? And when Paul Merson was talking about it the following week on Saturday, he turned around and they showed that, they rerun that thing, and Merson said to Jeff Selling, he said, look at him, he said, he's like a snooker player. You know, he said, when you've seen a snooker player and he's going round the table working out his next move and whatever, he said, that's it. I mean, when I've seen him, he's been absolutely brilliant, and he's been unlucky with injuries. But if
he was like super talented.
Yeah, and we had him, and we wanted to play him at right back, and we let him go. I mean,
it's just a shame, really. I think we actually got released at the same time, me and Eze, and I think the club had kind of gone down the route of trying like the Holloways and the Lomas and maybe playing a different style of football than what you used to seeing at probably Millwall. And because it didn't really work out, the likes of Eze and possibly even myself to a certain extent, our days were almost a little bit numbered, if you like.
I can well believe that, mate.
It's just one of them things. It's part and parcel of football, and you get a manager that suits the way you want to play, and it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. But it's a shame especially with Eze. Obviously, he's just incredible talent, and he fits into any team, doesn't he? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, what a miss that was for us. Did you ever hear or see of Jake Goodman? Because he was coming along as a good centre back.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time with. We used to call him Biggie. That was his nickname.
Biggie.
Big Bird. Big Bird, they used to call him.
Right.
I don't know why, to be honest. I don't know why, but that was his nickname.
Right.
But yeah, he was good, solid centre half.
Yeah.
Good in the air. Wasn't bad on the ball. Great lad as well. Heart on his sleeve. Used to put his body on the line every game.
Yeah.
So yeah, we spent a lot of time together. He never really got much of an opportunity with the first team. But he went on to play in non-league, I think, after that. I'm not sure what he's up to now.
No.
I think he's a Sitting Bull now, isn't he?
Sitting Bull?
I think so, yeah.
Is he at Sitting Bull now? Yeah. So yeah, he's almost like a good old-fashioned centre half, if you like.
Yeah, I've heard them say that.
Yeah. So no, we have some really good players there. Like I say, we have some really good players. Obviously, the one we just spoke about has gone on to do really well. Some lads still obviously earning a living as well, and that's what it's about. If you can do something you enjoy earning a living, then it's not all bad.
As Alfie Pavey would say. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Miles here, Jack. The Peckham Perlo being compared with the legend that is Terry Hurlock. Can you tell me how you managed to be accredited with these attributes?
I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. If you read through like the Wikipedia page, and it mentions about Peckham Perlo, and it mentions Terry Hurlock as well, and I think it describes something as some gutsy performances, technical ability and things like that. And I think when I first started playing, I'd like to think that they're the attributes that I showed. Obviously, didn't last particularly long, not as long as I would have liked. But yeah, I just think having an eye for a pass, being good on the ball, and then also not being afraid to put myself about when necessary. I wouldn't say that's my one of my sort of shining attributes is making tackles and things like that, but I wouldn't say I shy away from it either. So, especially in the first team setup, that's kind of something that you need to do, and especially something that the Millwall fans want to see. So I'd like to think that I didn't shy away from anything on the physical side of the game, but that was tough as well because I was still developing, I think, in my opinion. So that was always something that I was going to get better at over time. But yeah, mainly I'd say obviously in possession, being able to find a pass, see a pass, look after the ball, and pass it to someone on my team, which is a good trait to have.
Yeah.
Jack, it's Jeff here again. I mentioned earlier that you'd achieved that quite unusual thing of going out of the Football League for a little while before you got back in. You stayed with us, lasted 3 seasons, and you played in 10 games, and you were a substitute on 20 other occasions. How did you find it possible to maintain your drive to be successful over this period, which also included 3 short non-league loan spells, as we heard earlier? How did you keep your ambition going?
I think I just always had this kind of inner belief and confidence in what I can do. Obviously, when I first started playing, I felt as though I made a really good impression. I thought I performed, especially in my first few games, I thought I performed really well. And then it became difficult because I was getting put kind of in and out of the team with big gaps in between, and it was hard to kind of get that level of consistency. And like you say, I travelled kind of up and down the country on the bench, and even a lot as 19th man as well out of the squad. And I just kind of used that as an experience almost, and just built my experience in that sense, being at some big grounds and being in the environment in the dressing room and gaining that experience. And I just used it really just to kind of improve in any way that I could. Obviously, being on the pitch is the best way to improve, and then the next best is just being in and around the squad. So it was a really frustrating time because I felt as though I'd made the impression, like I mentioned, and I felt like I'd done well, and I felt like I had something to offer. And at the time, Holloway was bringing in a lot of experienced players because we went on a bit of a difficult run. And to be honest with you, I knocked on his door time and time again, just basically asking for a game and telling him that I think I deserve a game. And it was almost a case of I just didn't feel like I could do, and I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone, but I didn't feel like I could do much worse than what the players were doing at the time. And being in football, I think it's always better to have a lad that's kind of been at the club and was a youth player at the club for a time, and someone that the fans can kind of get behind and relate to a little bit more. And I think it would have benefited the team. Holloway's argument was that he didn't feel that maybe I was ready to play in a team that wasn't doing particularly well, and he was worried about my confidence and that kind of stuff. But to be fair to him, he did ask me to sign a new contract just before he kind of got the sack, and I would have committed to that, no problem. The timing was unfortunate because then he got sacked about a week later, and that meant that I wasn't committed to the club for longer than the rest of that season. So things obviously changed quite a lot after Holloway left. Like I say, to answer the question, it was just having that inner belief that I knew that what I was capable of, and I'd also kind of proved a little bit that I can cope at the level and be good at the level as well. So I just kind of took it in my stride and just used the training days as the days that kind of really kept me going.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we spoke to Alfie Pavey not long ago, and we called him a journeyman, and he explained that he would not hang around anywhere where he was not playing regularly.
Yeah.
Now, you've had solid playing career at Crawley in obviously in the Football League or the EFL for quite some time after stints with Ebbsfleet and Maidstone.
Yeah.
You done well with the Red Devils, as confirmed by Tony Craig when he was on the show fairly recently.
Yeah.
In your career, is there anything you would have done differently based on your experience? And what would you say to any younger player looking to break into pro football?
I wouldn't have changed any of that, my upbringing and my academy career and things like that. I wouldn't have really changed that. And then same thing, I wouldn't have changed signing for Millwall at all. I think it was a great thing for me. Obviously, then it started my career, if you like. But I think once I got to the point where I'd played in the Championship after having a loan spell at Concord Rangers, I would have really pushed to go out on loan after that. That's something that I wish I would have done. And I think, I don't have any regrets, but I think my career path might have altered a little bit if I would have been allowed to do that. And it wasn't a case that I didn't want to go because I felt as though Holloway wasn't going to give me the games that I wanted. I'd already played and done quite well, and then a few teams started to show an interest in taking me on loan. And if I would have gone on loan from the Championship to a League Two side, say, and kind of really got the games under my belt in the league, that's something that I wish I would have been allowed to do. But it was a case of Holloway saying that I was close to the first team and he wanted to use me, and it just didn't really materialise. So I think I had some loan interest from the likes of Wickham and Yeovil as well. And I think getting a solid season of league football under my belt at that stage would have maybe propelled me into something different, other than obviously then dropping into non-league. So for me, as you mentioned, what Alfie Pavey said is play regularly as much as you can at whatever level it might be, especially as a young player. If you need to go and play in non-league at a young age and get the games under your belt, understand men's football, understand what it's like playing for points when it means a lot to people, do that at the earliest opportunity. But also as a young player, get your grounding, in the academies and be at the highest level possible, I would say. And it's interesting, I speak to people about this all the time, and for me, football is very difficult when you're in that middle ground coming through as a player. What I mean by that is, if you're not at one of these top academies, like the big six academies, if you like, and you're not at a club, say in League 2, where you can break through, which is like a club that I'm at now, like a Crewe Alexandra, or possibly a Colchester or someone like that, when you're in between those, it's really difficult to break in. So if you can kind of put yourself in that situation where you're at a League 2 team where they're comfortable giving youngsters a game, or you can be right at the top for as long as you can and you're improving as much as you can, then that kind of windfall is slightly different to if you're kind of at a club that is not going to give out many opportunities and you're struggling for a bit of game time. So like I said, for me, it's like being at the top or the bottom. And then if you have to take a little bit of a fall from the top, great. If you can build your way up from the bottom, then also great. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that would be my advice.
Good stuff.
Right. Yeah, Jack, firstly, before I ask you the question, I just want to say best of luck with your recovery, mate, with your ACL.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Myself, and it's hard to say the least from personal experience.
Yeah, tough.
I suspect that this Christmas will be unique for you, as football over the Christmas and New Year is a busy period. What's it been like for you in these times past?
It's been tough, to be honest with you. Like I feel like over the years, when I left West Ham, I went on trial at so many different clubs and suffered that kind of rejection side of things. And I've obviously come across a lot of footballers that don't really cope too well with that. Like something we spoke about earlier, having that confidence and that inner belief that you can keep cracking on. So I think in terms of like mental resilience, I feel like I've built that up really well over my career, and I'd like to think it's helping me now. Like you have some tough days where you're really missing it and you're gutted that you're not in and around the changing room and being able to influence things on the pitch. So them days have been tough. Coming off the back of my surgery was tough because I was in a lot of pain as well, and I'd like to think that I had quite a high pain threshold, but that really tested me. So that was a tough couple of weeks after surgery. But yeah, like I've obviously got a family. I've got 3 boys at home, and I'm just going to use that to kind of make the most of Christmas and being here a lot more than I would be if I was playing football, and have a few beers as well, which is something that you don't get to do. So I'd enjoy myself a little bit more than I usually would, but also look forward to having a Christmas where I am back in football.
Yeah, I bet Mrs. Powell enjoyed your inability to deal with pain. Well, at least my missus did. I know that.
Oh yeah, she probably did, mate. She probably did, but she didn't enjoy me telling her to get me a drink every 5 minutes or something.
No, they don't. They don't like that bit. That's for certain.
She didn't take to that too well.
No.
She was just about coping after a week or so.
Bless her. Here, Jack, before you go, it's a tradition. Can you give us a prediction for Millwall's trip to Stoke on Saturday? Both teams are struggling in the Championship at the moment.
Yeah, obviously, I still keep a keen eye out for especially the clubs that I've played for, so I'm aware of the results recently. Obviously, it being Stoke's about half hour away from where I am now, so I get quite a few Stoke fans around me now and again. And I think they picked up a few weeks ago. They picked up a little bit Stoke, and now they seem to be on the downward spiral again. So you might not believe me, but I'm going to go for an old-fashioned 1-0 Millwall. I'm going to go.
Well, we take that every day of the week, Jack.
Shut up. Old school style Millwall.
Let's hope we can do that and not give away a penalty at the end of the game like we have done against Sunderland and Huddersfield. But there you go. I'd
like to see that. A nice 1-0, that'll do.
That's life sometimes. Look, Jack, thanks for coming on. Get back to fitness, and all the best to you and for your career at Crewe Alexandra. And we wish you and your family a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Until the next time, bye, my friend.
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Look forward to talking to you again. Merry Christmas,
Jack.
everyone.
Yeah,
Bye,
see you, Jack.
Especially all the Millwall as well. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll
Take
look
care.
forward to seeing you again in the not too distant future. Take care.
Nice one. Take care, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you, Jack.
What a nice man, eh?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing arrogant about him, and he's confident and whatever, and he's
Definitely grounded.
yeah, that's right. And perhaps he could do with a little bit more luck on the playing front. I mean,
Yeah.
no. I always, when I first saw him, I thought we come on as a sub in the game I was at, and he looked quite good then.
Yeah.
And when he went, I was disappointed.
Yeah. Was disappointing. I thought he was looking good. But there you go. We lose some, we win some. In fact, we've won one a day. Or was it yesterday? Yesterday, yeah. Adomo Imaku signs a long contract. Just a job for the boy from Dublin. Clondalkin, to be precise. Anyhow, we'll take a break there and listen to Bethany Manktelow talking about the fans programme.
Hi, Bethany here. Want a matchday programme? You'll find them with sellers outside the ground by the gates at Zampa Road, Stockholm Road and Senegal Road. They cost £1 and the sellers ask if you can have the right money, as change will be difficult. If you want to get a message, photos of special events, memorials or just ones for good luck to be included, email smprogram@protonmail.com. That is smprogramme at protonmail.com. It's a great read.
I'm Eamonn Barclay and I'm back with the No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnige, Myles Thornton and Stan Godwin. Don't forget to have your pound coins at the ready. Change is not always available. And if you see Pat, you'll definitely get none. Anyhow, next up, we'll have a listen to Ellis Barr and see what she's going to say.
Hello, Ellis here, and I'm glad to be back talking about Millwall. I know many have watched my videos, so you will all know that I don't wear splints as much anymore. Thanks for your support along the way. It is now time to hear what all the Millwall teams are up to. Come on, Millwall!
Absolutely, Ellis, and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year that brings you increased health to you and all your family. We really enjoy you coming on the show and saying those things. Well, it's close season for the Millwall Romans and Pride, so let's listen to the thoughts of the one and only Jeff Burnige for Maritime Radio about Millwall Lionesses' visit to Dorking Wanderers last Sunday.
This is Jeff Burnige reporting on Millwall Lionesses. Well, the Lionesses went down 3-1 at Dorking Wanderers yesterday. Dorking Wanderers managed by Callum Best, son of legend George. And this was one of the few matches played on the Sunday before Christmas. Millwall could hardly field anything like a full-strength side due to injuries and unavailability. The hosts had a purple patch between the 18th and 32nd minutes in the first half, scoring 3 times to make the game very difficult to retrieve for the Lionesses. Maisie Joyce and Shay Bennett had a full game each in the midfield in their efforts to tie down regular places in the starting lineup. And Shana Jordani played 70 minutes at centre forward before being replaced by club captain Jordan Butler. Shannon Drew pulled a goal back on 52 minutes, but this was an afternoon that the Lionesses will want to forget. they now go into the much needed winter break until the 7th of January, when they entertain Sutton United in the London and South East Regional League Cup. And they will be hoping to go all the way in this cup, which would be compensation for a slow start to the league programme, which has meant promotion was out of reach for season 23-24.
Jeff, that was a complete reverse score to what we had at Rotherhithe this season. I mean, it's sad that we had a bit of a scratch side. Are we likely to have players back by the time we get to play Sutton in the League Cup?
The answer is definitely yes to that. What I didn't cover in that verbal report for Maritime, I did cover in the Southwark News this week. That's and that report is available on News Now Millwall for those that look at that. But in fact, we could have had the game called off, but to their credit, the managers wanted to have the game to give some of the players a chance to state their claim, as I described. But there were 7 withdrawals through illness between the Friday and the Sunday morning. Goodness. And that left us with only one sub, and that's Jordan, who is recovering from 2 years out of the game. So It was an unusual situation. If we were going for promotion at the moment, it would be heartbreaking. But look, no big damage done. There will be players back from illness and injury for the Sutton game, I'm sure. There may even be a couple of new players that Alex and Adam have told me they're confident of signing. Ooh. So I'm looking forward to doing the report on that game in 2 or 3 weeks' time.
Excellent stuff, Jeff, and all credit to you following the Lionesses all around the southeast of England. Anyway, I'm going to move on from there, and it will be Coach Schumacher on the starting grid in his first managerial match for Stoke City on Saturday. Can we expect the same pressured start that he gave us at Home Park when we played against his former team, Plymouth Argyle? Stoke are one place above us and on the same number of games, and that's because they have 1 point more than us. For now, we do hold a better goal difference. Stoke have no wins in their last 5 fixtures, but have 2 draws in their last 2 games against Swansea and West Brom, which was a draw away at West Brom, which is quite credible. In comparison, our form is exactly the same. Well, we look well matched, you might say. However, current odds favour Stoke to win at 6-5, whilst a win or a draw for us is almost 3 times as much at 13-5. Will the Lions go a step further in 2 areas? Will we keep a clean sheet and score more than 1 goal? Well, what do you reckon, team?
Well, if I'm going to go first, Eamonn, on that, I'm feeling reasonably confident about that game on Saturday at Stoke. I think we're unlikely to concede another penalty to drop 2 points late in the game. It was heartbreaking on Saturday.
Absolutely.
I'll be interested to see the team sheet. I will not be travelling to Stoke, unfortunately, but be keeping tabs on how that goes. The team selection will be fascinating. I still feel that we've got more in us than is apparent at the moment, and I don't think we'll lose that game at Stoke. It'll either be a draw or a win for us.
OK, Jeff, I'll go with that.
Let's say 1-0, just like Jack said.
Fair enough. Join Jack, Jeff. So Join Jack, Jeff is 1-0.
Well, this is interesting because the guy Schumacher, I mean, I have to say that when Gary Rowett left Millwall, and this was before Joe Edwards appeared on the scene, and somebody asked me, did I have a list of managers that I would want there, this guy was one of them, right?
Yeah.
Because he's one of these new, in the same sort of mould as Joe Edwards, as it goes, that type of manager. So I was certainly now. But getting on to the game in itself, well, I don't worry too much about betting odds. I mean, the way I look at it is, I mean, all right, it was frustrating on Saturday when they got that penalty because we conceded the penalty initially, I didn't even know what we conceded it for, right? Until I saw it I think it was about Wednesday of this week, and I have to say that when I saw it, I mean, even if there'd have been VAR there, that would have been a penalty. I mean, because it's the hand, it's unfortunate, but it was a penalty, right? But saying that, and I understand people were frustrated after that game, but again, you see, I noticed that game, and I noticed we were playing better in that game than we did the previous game, and then obviously better than the game against Ipswich. So we are progressing. There's no question about that. We are progressing and we're getting better. So I'm quite confident I mean, I agree with Jeff. We'll either end up drawing the game or winning the game. I can't see us losing it. I think there are real problems there at Stoke. And it ain't going to be the manager's fault, because one of the things I read is that when the previous manager went in there, he apparently, it was the condition of his employment, which they agreed to, that he and he alone, there wouldn't be any directors of football getting involved and all this sort of thing. It was him and him alone's responsibility to pick the team and decide who he wanted and who he didn't want. And because they went along with it, and because it all gone pear shaped. So this bloke might have a players there that he don't rate, but no, they're in difficulty, Stoke, and. But I think our form's on the up, and I think it's sooner before later we're going to win, and I think that will be on Saturday. So I'm confident. I think we'll win the game.
Prediction?
Well, but I think it'll be by the odd goal, either 1-0 or 2-1 or 3-2 or whatever. But I think we'll win it.
The odd game in whatever. Myles.
I also think it's going to be a 1-0 win. I think people have told me new manager bounce for them, but we've got to forget about their new manager and we've got to go for the 3 points, because blatantly we probably need 3 points to shut these fans up. But it's not like we need it or we're going to go down or anything like that, because we ain't going to go down. I'm 99% sure of that this season. But yeah, I think it's going to be a 1-0 win away from home, and I think Tom Bradshaw is going to get the goal, backing him.
Well, there you go. Get your money on Tom Bradshaw, and you'll be in the money just like Myles. Well, yeah, it all seems we're very positive about going forward and up to the Potteries, and hopefully we can crack the Potteries and come back with the jewels. So let's be hopeful. Now, I know we face QPR on Boxing Day at the Den, and it's another team chasing points to see light between the drop zone and themselves. Maybe a speculative prediction on the basis of all being well after our trip to the Potteries, guys. Prediction, Jeff?
You're right, Eamonn. Without knowing how we looked in the Stoke game, it's twice as hard to predict that one. QPR have improved, haven't they, in the last 2 or 3 games? That could go any way at all, but I'll be there with my whole family, so I'm confident that we are about to get some better results. So I'm going for 6 points between Stoke and Queen's Park Rangers. Wow. Another win against QPR.
Okay.
What score? I couldn't tell you, but you want a score from me, so I'm going to go Millwall 2, QPR 1.
Hey, the Burnige family boost. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
Stan?
Interesting game because, until this new guy come in, right, this new manager, and I don't know a lot about the guy, but we all know what was happening under Ainsworth. Now, I mean, I read a bit in one of the papers last week. One of their players, and because he was put to them about how they've been rejuvenated, and he said, "Well, it's quite simple." He said, "I said it's no magic formula." He said, and under this new manager, he said we're actually playing football. And he clearly hinted that the problem with Ainsworth was the reason they were struggling was because they were lumping it long, right? And that didn't suit them. I mean, this is what this guy who plays in the team said, right? And said, and now instead of having one pass to make, he said we've got 3 or 4 options, right? Every player. So that's the reason they're doing well, apparently. But no, again, we're at home, and I think that we will, however we play on Saturday. Against Stoke, right? I think we'll play again better when we play on Boxing Day. So no, I'm confident. I'm confident of, as I say, we're turning it around. I mean, my view is that come the end of the season, we're going to be well out of any relegation. We may not make the playoffs, and I'm not bothered about that, but we won't be certain. Certainly won't be in any relegation fight, in my opinion.
Good. Prediction, Stan?
2-0.
2-0. That sounds powerful. Myles?
Yeah, QPR 12 points from their last 8 games under their new manager, so a much improved team. But we're also a much improved team. The football we're playing, I'm liking it, and you know what? Game by game, different things are happening that are making me like Joe Edwards even more. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 Millwall win for QPR game.
And I will be I'll be behind the Burnige thrust, and I'll go for 2-0 as well. So that's quite reasonable. I think we'll do it. I can see us having a happy Christmas and a happy New Year too. Okay, well, we'll take a break there before we hear from a good friend who now speaks with our Myles Thornton. So let's hear what Myles has to say.
Hello, Dean. Myles here.
Hi, Myles.
Hi, mate. Your funeral directors are famed for caring for Millwall families. Where are you located, and how far afield have you travelled to accommodate the needs of families?
Well, we've got 2 branches. Our main one's in Eltham, in Wellhall Road, and we've got another one in Locks Bottom, which is near Orpington. Millwall fans all round us. We cover all areas, and we do travel for families. We had a lady very recently that passed away up north, but it was her wish to come back to South London for a funeral, so that's what we did. We went up to Sheffield and we brought her back. We quite often carry out funerals for Millwall families all over South London and Kent, right down to the South Coast.
Dean Wilson, Independent Family Funeral Directors, caring for Millwall families. No matter how near or far, should you need them at any time, ring 0208 33 11 111. That's 0208 33 11 111.
I'm Eamonn Barclay, and I'm back with a No One Likes Us talking team over Jeff Burnige, Stan Godwin and Myles Thornton. You can't go wrong in placing your loved one in the caring hands of Dean Wilson Family Funeral Directors. Our second guest tonight has experienced challenging Christmases and New Year's, both as a firefighter and as a funeral director. He's followed Millwall man and boy, been involved with the Millwall Academy, and strangely enough, he called me Sir during our working life together until I told him that I hadn't been knighted by the Queen. Apart from that, he's been an absolute splendid sponsor of many things surrounding Millwall Football Club, and most lately, the Lions Food Hub. Let's ensure no more time is wasted and welcome Dean Wilson to the show. Hello, Dean.
Hi, Eamonn. How you doing?
I'm good.
Dean.
Hi, Dean.
How are you? Hiya. How are you? Good.
Well, they've responded to you, and now our new studio platform allows you to see who's there on there as well. So enjoy their company. Before I let the panel talk,
I will.
Before I let the panel talk with you, Dean, still on call over Christmas to meet the needs of families who need you?
Yeah, definitely, Eamonn. You know, us as funeral directors, it's a 24-hour service. We have to be there. And yeah,
Christmas Day, Boxing Day, right the way through, 24 hours a day, we're at the end of the phone for people.
Yeah.
And, it's still the case. Many Millwall families call us to look after their loved ones, and it's an absolute honour when they do.
Yeah. 365 days a year. Yeah.
Exactly.
What did you make of our draw against Huddersfield Town last Saturday at the Den?
It was a poor first half from both sides. I think the fact that people sitting around me were talking to each other proved that. I think both managers needed to get things happening in the second half, and there was improvement, but then to get the goal and then to get so near to full time and concede that penalty, it was a real body blow for us all, really. And I think Huddersfield stole a point there, to be quite honest. I think it was theirs for the taking, except for the silly mistake.
Yeah. It's like getting to the line and tripping over. It's awful. But
Exactly, mate.
Thanks.
Dean, what player or players have impressed you this season?
Oh, right. I've got to be honest, there haven't been too many, but the ones that stand out for me are Casper De Norre, definitely, in midfield. He's such a calm player. He can slow the game down when we need to. And his distribution is fantastic. And he's the sort of player that he'll also track back and win the ball for us. And obviously, Brooke Norton-Cuffy on loan from Arsenal. And I think his class is actually showing through now. He's a Premiership player in the making, I think. And when he's on the ball, he gets forward, he beats players, he puts a real shift in, which is a minimum for all Millwall fans. And I think you've got to mention Bart as well, coming back into the side. He's 36 years old now, and he's just coming in to cover for injury. And he's pulled off some great saves. And so I think he's a goalkeeper with a real professional attitude. So for me, De Norre, Norton-Cuffy and Bart, they're the three that have impressed me this season.
Evening, Dean. It's Jeff here.
Hi, Jeff.
Possession-based tactics in football are the method of choice for so many clubs, from Guardiola's Man City through to our very own Paul Loading's Millwall Romans. It challenges many fans who yearn for a return to a 4-4-2 system with a big striker up front. How do you think the transition from what was a trademark 4-4-2 at Millwall to a possession-based system is going?
Well, for me, Jeff, I think 4-4-2 is a tried and tested formation. If you have two strong strikers up front, you're going to get goals. I believe our problem, and it's only my opinion, is that having Bradshaw up front basically on his own is not paying off for us. I'd like to see a 4-4-2, but obviously Joe has his ideas as to how he wants to see us play. Our last regular striking partnership was Morrison and Gregory, and I feel that's what we need to establish again, a partnership up front. Possession-based football is great when it works, but in the Championship you don't have long on the ball, and the whole team has to be capable of playing that way, and I don't think we are at the moment.
And here, mate.
Oh, yeah, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing okay. And yourself?
Yeah, all good, thanks.
Very good. Right, this is our last show of 2023. What are your hopes for our club going into 2024 in relationship to the first team, the fans, the Lionesses, the under-21s, the Academy, Romans and Pride, and last but not least, the Millwall or the Lions Food Hub and our community trust. Yeah. That's a list for you, mate.
That's a list. Well, yeah. I mean, anything associated with Millwall Football Club, I want to do well. Any team that pulls on a Millwall shirt, I want them to do well. But I'm really looking forward to what Joe can do in the January window with his contacts and possible loans. I'm still hopeful, I think, of a mid-table finish for us. Our 21s are going from strength to strength under Kevin Nugent and Robbo. I think they've only lost once. Our Academy, fantastic. It's in good hands. The community trust is getting bigger, doing more and more in the community. And the Lions Food Bank, that's getting used so much more now by local families and those in need. So I'm looking forward, as I always do, for our club in 2024. And as a Millwall fan, I'm always optimistic and hopeful.
Good.
I think I'd like to ask you about Dean as well, if I can come back,
yes.
Jeff.
Okay, Jeff.
We've got through to the last 32 of the FA Youth Cup, something which in the past we've won on a couple of occasions. We've not had a great draw. We've drawn Grimsby away in the middle of January. I think it's the 16th of January. I think it's a Thursday night. How do you think that will go?
Grimsby away, I think it's possible. Like I say, any Mill team, first team, 21s, academy, they fight for the shirt. So, going up there, I'm sure they'll give it their best shot and it's doable. But yeah, Grimsby away, it's not the best draw, is it?
No. Tuesday night in Grimsby, I seem to remember.
Yeah, fantastic.
Barry Stradlin's book on that matter. But what I can say is that the fish and chips in Cleethorpes, which is just round the corner, are exceptional. So, if you're going, don't miss the fish and chips in Cleethorpes. But
Eamonn, the Grimsby's ground is actually in Cleethorpes.
Well, that's right. But
not Grimsby. So
yeah, but the fish and chip shop is just round the corner.
Well, let's hope the lads get on the bus with a win and they get fish and chips to eat on the way home.
I'd hope so too.
Definitely.
In fact, we might sponsor them now. I'll write into the academy director and see what old Scott says, how much he wants for fish and chips for them. We could have a laugh on that one, couldn't we? Anyway, I mean, you talked about the community trust, and of course you're still a prominent sponsor of the food hub and the work that you do there.
Yeah.
And it ain't only the Lions Food Hub. I mean, I saw the food hub support that you give from your funeral directors as well. I mean, it's really admirable stuff. But tell me, did you ever think that 20 years ago we would be in this state of affairs?
No, you don't. I mean, who would? The thing is with the food hub, it's predominantly families that are using it. But do you know what? We're even getting nurses in local hospitals that once they've paid their rent and paid all their other bills, they've got no money for food. So they're coming to us for food. So, I never thought that we'd be in this state of affairs, but, Millwall fans, they step up, they help, they make their donations. My son Craig, he works in the hub on a match day, he takes the donations in, and it's all given out during the week. But, you just got to do what you need to do, and Millwall fans are brilliant at that.
That's for certain. There's a hell of a push on it. Anyhow, when Saturday comes, we go to Stoke in search of points. Stoke is the now former Plymouth manager Schumacher's team. Can we get something against our fellow strugglers? What's your prediction?
Well, we definitely need something from Stoke on Saturday and obviously QPR on Boxing Day.
Yeah.
But, Stoke are down there with us and they'll be thinking the same, that they need the points. If we can go up there, take the game straight to them, not concede first, I think we can at least take a point. But obviously, I'd love all three. So my prediction would be 1-1, just because of where we both are and how we're both playing at the moment. Okay.
And you mentioned QPR there. It's got to be speculative because you don't know who we might lose at the weekend and all that sort of thing. But what would be the score you'd hope on Boxing Day?
Boxing Day, London derby, I think 2-0 Millwall.
Do you know?
Get the crowd behind us.
That's the same score that I predicted. And I thought Jeff Burnige said that, but he didn't.
Yeah.
He said 2-1. So me and you, we'll stick together with our memories of times gone by.
Yeah, Blue Watch and all that sort of thing, yeah.
Well, predominantly Green Watch for me.
Yeah. I suppose it was. I bet you had to watch when Eamonn was about, Dean.
You did. He was a senior officer.
Yeah, I could just imagine him cracking whips or something even a bit He's stronger than that. But, he's not this passive
we
guy
kept out of
who
his
gives you the
way.
impression, is he? Yeah.
Oh,
No, we kept out of his way.
Yeah, well, I don't blame you, mate. I don't blame you.
dear, oh dear. Dean, it's been great fun as usual to have you on the show once again. And we
no problem at
certainly
all.
look forward to seeing you in, that was it, in next year's Santa Dash alongside Stan and Myles. They want you.
I'll do that.
Yeah, you're going to be with them next year.
I'll do that. Yeah,
Lovely.
yeah. No.
Right.
Give me all the details and I'll be there.
Right.
Dean, be careful. This is the Eamonn Barclay sting here, mate. I'm telling you.
There's no sting in it.
Yeah.
You need to be careful.
Myles.
Am I walking straight into it?
No, you're not,
Yeah.
Myles. There's nothing to walk into, is there, Myles?
No, not at all.
There you go.
I'll be there.
Myles with it. And hopefully we can get old Ted Robinson as well, because he's been steering shy of it. And Sean Daly said to me, well, where was Ted then? He was supposed to come this year. I said he'll be there next year. So
if he turns up, he'll get his kit, he'll get his uniform like I got.
You'll get your blue Santa kit.
Yeah.
But you mustn't go around looking like Rudolph and Prancer like some of them do. But there you go. That'll be all right. Anyhow, look, we'll welcome you back on the show you'll let her come up back at the end of the season when we see what become of what happened. But in the meantime, all the best to Karen and the family for a merry and peaceful
thank you very much,
and a happy New Year.
Yeah,
thanks, Dean.
Yeah, no, same to you all.
See you later,
Have a
Dean.
great Christmas. Thanks very much.
Merry Christmas, Dean.
Bye.
Merry Christmas, Karen.
Cheers, Jeff. Thank you. Cheers, Jeff.
We'll take a break there, and we will listen to Bethany Warren talking about sponsorship for the Millwall, or our Community Trust.
The Millwall Community Trust, something that I, Bethany Manctalo, admire for all that it does. The Trust was established in 1985, works to provide sporting, education, social and healthy lifestyle opportunities to the local community in Southwark, Lewisham, North Kent and the wider community. Its work is targeted at people of all ages, irrespective of race, gender or sexual orientation, and runs programmes aimed at tackling social exclusion, racism, knife crime, lack of employment opportunities for young people, mental health and disability issues. The Trust aims to be a progressive and campaigning charity that makes a difference to ordinary people's lives. Its work is undeniably essential to the local community. They have sponsorship opportunities to support this work. Email commercial@millwallcommunity.org.uk. I'll say that again. That is email commercial@millwallcommunity.org.uk. Please help if you can.
I'm Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnige, Stan Godwin and Myles Thornton. If you can sponsor or donate to our Millwall Community Trust, it will help them in delivering the programmes they deliver for all. Well, we're all looking forward to the next game and Christmas and New Year. But in the meantime, here are a few matters of interest for Millwall fans and those interested in football.
Millwall Football Club's 2023-2024 half-season tickets are now on sale at the ticketing section of the club's website. Secure your seat for the home straight and receive the first 3 matches of your ticket for free. You will receive all the same benefits as a regular season ticket holder, including priority purchases or purchase periods for away games and high demand cup or playoff fixtures. Exclusive discounts on Millwall TV plus subscriptions and exclusive promotions to or in the Lions store. Wheelchair, ambulance, disabled supporters need to call 020 7740 3470. I'll repeat that. That's 020 7740 3470 to purchase a half-season ticket between the hours of 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Thursday, and from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Fridays.
We will take a break after this show until we return on the 5th of January, just before the FA Cup game with Leicester. Eamonn will be hosting myself, Ted and Debbie, along with a couple of guests as usual. Additionally, a No One Likes Us Talking special will be aired next week, featuring some of the heroes of 50 years ago, talking about an outstanding FA Cup win at Everton. Watch out for that one. I'm hosting it. Don't forget, Millwall Lionesses are on their winter break too, but you'll hear a preview of the League Cup tie on the 7th of January against Sutton United on that 5th of January programme when we return.
I'll be back in January 2024 with the No One Likes Us Talking monthly podcast with Phil Coleman and Ted Robinson. We'll talk about matters which impact football and our club. Also, please note that our Millwall Community Trust will be closed on Christmas Day and Boxing Day, Saturday the 30th of December, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day.
Don't forget, you'll be able to listen to the No One Likes Us Talking Ting, bring reports from our games both home and away for both the Lions and Lionesses, and also updates on Mill Community Matters too on Maritime Radio, broadcasting on 96.5 FM. Additionally, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook and X, formerly Twitter, social media sites and all popular podcast sites. That's it from me. Thanks, Jeff.
Good night.
Thanks, Stan.
Yeah, good night.
And thanks, Myles.
Yeah, thanks, Eamonn. Good night, everyone.
And thank you all for listening. Until we talk again, we wish all our listeners and those that have contributed to the show over this season, our sponsors, our partners and guests, a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Finally, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there. Good night. Our Millwall Fan Show is sponsored by G&M Motors of Gravesend, Honda dealers and much more. Thank you.